Hello and welcome back to the channel. I felt it necessary to just do a quick little update on all of the projects and cars, because if you can see this thing, lots happened to it since last I made a full video about it. Some stuff happened to the Opel since last I made a video about it. The last video I uploaded was about Susie, the toy Suze, the old Isuzu KB body chassis that's running a full Hilux SFA running gear similar to what's underneath this thing, and lots has happened to that thing since last I made a video about it, because the video I uploaded I actually recorded a fair few months ago, and I didn't record anything I did to it, and I did quite a bit.
Hello there, Editing Ryan here. As you are watching me right now, I'm in my pajamas. It's just about midnight, Sunday evening. This video needs to go up on Wednesday. I'm in the wrong province to re-record this video before it needs to go up, so that will sadly not be a possibility. So please know that I am aware of the issue with the audio. I tried to band-aid it to varying degrees of success. This is the best I could get it. I made a small mistake in my setup for my audio equipment, and I think that's where the issue originated. Anyhow, if the video isn't enjoyable, please do give it a chance. Hopefully it's at least informative. Without any further ado, I'll let you watch the rest of the video if you do please to do so.
First checkup is ye old shitbox Corolla, the very best vehicle I have ever owned, had, and probably will ever own or have. She's out of gear. As per usual, this thing just runs way better than it should, and the only thing I really changed on it was, really the biggest issue it ever had was that internal airbox that I had. Worked really well for getting clean air, cold air into this thing, but it was deafening. So I now just have a regular old pancake air filter on there. Next up is my second most favorite car, good old Dexter. Obviously, I recorded a lot of what I did to this thing. The leaf springs and shackle situation is still unchanged, although I am now running different shocks. The stock shocks up front were way too bloody short, so it now has a set of TJM XJS shock absorbers from a Land Cruiser up front. Those are too long, so those don't work. They need to come out. Fear not, I do have a plan for that. And in the rear, it has also shocks from a Land Cruiser, but those are some second-hand old man emus, and they work an absolute treat. Shortly before Roosterwinter, I dropped Dexter off at my mate Gavin from Northern Off-Road, and he sort of did his magic to it. He installed his home brand jerry can holder. I have the same one on blue, and it's the best jerry can holder that I've ever used. He installed this spare wheel carrier for me. The spare wheel was always underneath, but you do run the risk of hitting the spare wheel on a rock because it does protrude from the bottom of the car, so it's wiser to have it up there. He installed a bunch of these modular cargo rails. They actually do manufacture those themselves. These aren't the Chinese ones that they just sort of resell. They have these special manufactured, and they just work better than most other ones you can get. They installed their home brand tow bar. It has snatchable recovery points. It is high lift jack compatible. There's a quick removable tow hitch, and this is actually meant for a Land Cruiser, but with some minor modification. If you can see it in there, they do fit on the SFAs quite well. Fun fact, the same mounts that are used to manufacture these tow bars, those are the mounts that we used a long time ago to build the rear bumper that I have on blue. So if you just use the mounts, those mounts actually do fit perfectly on an SFA. They installed this roll bar for me. They did supply this work light. I installed it myself after Roosterwinter. I was supposed to install it before Roosterwinter, but I ran out of time. They installed this bottle opener for me. This is sort of the refreshment station, because if I open the door, it's not here right now. There is a dual battery system, and a fridge normally sits there. Also, subwoofer for my tunes. They also took my OEM front bumper that was ugly, slightly ruined, very bent, and they turned it into a snatchable recovery point, because having two snatchable recovery points front and back on a 4x4 I consider sort of necessary. It's just such a lifesaver if you ever find yourself in a pickle, especially if the recovery points are snatchable. And then after Arista Winter, I installed these spotlights, the same ones that I have on the front of Blue. Oh yeah, and I removed the OEM stickers. We're working on getting a different custom vinyl set installed. Design's already been made. It's gonna look. It looks really cool. I just need to find the time and resources to get them installed. I'm very excited for that. It's the guy that designed them absolutely outdid himself. And up front, not much changed. I just repaired the rubber gaiter for the gear lever, and I did some extra, a little bit of sound deadening on the floor. Oh yeah, I also installed the switch panel because that vent was broken, but those switches do not yet do anything. I need to find a job for those switches. And sadly, the 4Y is still a 4Y. Yeah, it's still there. And now we move on to the project that will hopefully take up most of my time once my exams conclude. The Kadett, the race car. My first love. Those of you that have been here for a long time probably also don't know, because I've basically just only been documenting 4x4s, got a little bit sidetracked, but doing race car things is really sort of my main thing. 4x4s are sort of a side hobby to keep me occupied. And then I got a little bit carried away and forgot about this thing. This is my 1986 Opel Kadett 1.6 Cub, to which we are basically doing everything we can. Not much has changed since last you saw this on the channel. All we did was... Why do I speak like a robot just now? All we did was do some stitch welding. Anyways, we did some stitch welding across all of the major structural points in the engine bay, even down to the chassis legs and where the steering rack mounts. And really, that's about it. So let's move to the backyard where the rest of the projects are. Oh yeah, before we move on, we got a parts donor. This is a 1.6 GSE. We basically got it for its gauge cluster, bonnet, and a lot of the interior components, as well as its steering rack. We got it to start after we bought it, but that's about all this thing does. Everything on that thing is cooked. Brakes, cooked. Front suspension, cooked. Fuel system, cooked. Clutch, cooked. Engine, cooked. It starts and then it runs for like 30 seconds and then it just dies, and then you just see that it's created so much smoke that you're afraid that the fire department's going to get called on you. Quite a bit has changed on this thing. First things first that you notice immediately is the sticker set, which doesn't quite fit 100%, but it is on and it looks kind of sort of decent. I installed some Hilux SFA OEM mirrors that are vision corrected. These work a whole lot better than the mirrors that were on this thing. Still got the original wheels that were on it when we bought it, but it's now got some BF Goodrich KO2s on it. The hand cooks that were on it are now on Dexter. I installed these fender flare rubbers. The spacers that we spoke about are not on yet, and I also bashed in this pinch weld. Pinch weld? Yes, pinch weld to clear the wheels, and I cut up the fenders so that they don't cut into the tires anymore. And then I just sort of did the stickers on the tailgate, KB2200, because it's a KB with a 2200 engine in it, and Toy Suze. That is the original name that was always given to it by even the guy that originally built it, and that was always the sticker that was meant to go on this thing. Half of a Toyota sticker, half of a Isuzu sticker, Toy Suze. God, just wanted to carry on the legacy of the gentleman that originally built this vehicle. And I guess that's about it. It's sort of been a work in progress, reason being for the random bash plate and some of the other trash that's in the load bin. I just sort of work on this thing when I can find the time, hence why I haven't really been recording it. Whenever I've got nothing to do and I don't feel like recording, I just come out and do some work on this thing just to quiet down my head. And if I recall, this thing hasn't started in quite some time, so I think I'm going to go find the keys and see if I can get this thing started. The electronic choke on this thing doesn't work, so it normally takes quite some doing to get it started when it's cold, or if it's been sitting for a minute. Good. give us some of this. Battery's dead. Shit. Oh. Probably should connect the battery. Come on. Don't die, don't die, don't die. Ah! There you go. And while Susie gets some heat in her, let's talk about... Blue also has the starter in a bit, so I guess I got a starter up before the video ends, but you can see some stuff is missing. Yeah, I blew a hub seal. When I redid the rear axle, I basically redid everything except for the OEM breather, and the OEM breather no longer worked, so pressure built up in the diff and it blew the driver's side hub seal. Very big sad on that because that was a brand new hub seal and bearing, which I now need to replace again. And my diff is gone as well. That's because when it was built, it seems it was built incorrectly. The pinion, the collapsible space on the pinion failed, either because the shimming wasn't right on the pinion or because it wasn't torqued down correctly. That led to my pinion being loose, and it actually chowed the spider gear carrier on my diff a little bit. It made a hell of a noise. I could never figure out what the noise was. I disassembled, reassembled, rebuilt my rear brake system, everything, and turns out the noise that was haunting me was my pinion gear grinding into my differential. So that's a brand new pinion and ring gear cooked. They got so hot from all of that extra friction that they started to discolor. The diff is already fixed. I just need to go pick it up in Joburg where it has been fixed, so that can go back in. Then I can get the hub seal fixed, and then I can redo the diff breathers, and then I can put the brake lines back in because I pilfered this thing's front brake lines to get samples for front brake lines, to get extended front brake lines made for Dexter. But those brake lines are now going into Gavin's bucky, and I'm still waiting on the brake line for Dexter, and it's just... So this thing doesn't stop or go at the moment, but it does start, so... I'm very sad. At least it still smells nice inside. That's done priming. Battery is completely dead. No! Don't mind this thing, I'm just sort of using my hat to shield my microphone from the rain. While we're here, we might as well start up the white shit box. It's also got a 4YN like all of them else, but it's got a different exhaust. Mainly because it's got a different exhaust manifold on it. So I'm going to start it, and you can tell me in the comments, why do you think this thing sounds so different? Getting out of gear. Give it a... There you go. No, don't die. Ah. Come on. There you go. No. There you go. Looks like she's a bit smoky. Plans for Susie? Well, I need to drive this thing again. It's not really anything keeping me from driving it other than, oh yeah, the spacers. I still need to get the spacers for it. It needs spacers to clear the turning radius. The wheels will rub on the leaf springs, and once I start flexing, the rear wheels will press into the chassis rail, so I really do need to get those 30mm spacers. And this thing also doesn't have power steering, which makes it rather difficult to drive in rocky terrain. I tried once before, and the steering wheel nearly took my thumbs for itself. So I got a power steering kit for it. I just need a power steering box. I don't know if it's using an SFA power steering box or still the Isuzu power steering box. So currently steering is still manual. I've got everything to make the engine a power steering engine. I just need the steering box. I don't know which one to get yet. I'll figure that out when I get to it. But other than that, I really enjoy driving this thing. When you drive a car, you really can get an idea for the intentions it was built with. And I've said it in the previous video as well. This thing just has good juju. I really love driving it. It's plucky, it's got good spirits about it, and it is super duper capable. Plans for Blue? I'm worried about Blue because I need to do the diff. That's a lot of work. And redoing that diff again and doing the crown wheel and pinion again was painful. Extremely painful. But I need to re-engineer the entire diff breather system now because I'm not doing that again. So I need to make it foolproof now. I think I'm going to just develop my own entire kit, completely rethink how I've done it before. And then once I've developed the kit on this thing, once I've developed the kit on Dexter, because Dexter's currently running, I'm just going to put the same kit I did on Dexter onto this thing. And then I'm not sure what's happening with this thing right now, but it's looking like we need to do the E-fan and the radiator as well. The radiator doesn't flow enough water for the engine, and I need to get that sorted if I want to do longer trails. Doesn't bother on the shorter, more casual trails, but on stuff like Rest Winter, 100% it would overheat. It did overheat going up Sarnie Pass. My E-fan is dying on me. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I just don't want to risk that thing dying while I'm out in the bush. That will more than likely suck. So radiator fan needs to happen, and it's currently looking like the ECU might happen sooner than I anticipated as well. So Blue might be down for quite some time because I need to redo the entire front braking system as well, because I'm not going to show you right now, but this thing was waiting to kill me. The front brake lines are completely shot. They are in a scary state. Plans for Dexter? Well, I just got to do the front shocks, fix some damage that I got at Rest Winter. I've got some dead pulleys and stuff that are yelling at me, and my accessory belts are also dead. So I just need to fix that, do the front shocks, and then Dexter will be happy again. Plans with the Opel? Well, I need to really get started again on this thing. Need to prep the engine bay to accept the engine. I can't build the engine just yet because if you might have noticed, our yard is in a bit of a state. That's because we are busy with renovations, big renovations. So currently the garage is kind of out of order, and I kind of need a clean, working garage to build an engine. So that's kind of sidelined right now. So I just got to prep the engine bay, prep the body, get the dash back in, start on the wiring on this thing once I find the time. And then plans on the Corolla? Absolutely nothing. In fact, I think I'm going to go take it for a drive right now. I reckon it's about high time I took this thing for a spin again. It's been sitting for way too long. Now, after the winter. Slow in here. Just a second. FDRs, let's be braking. That went excellently. A bit slower than usual, but I'm very rusty and I'm glad I kept it together. Good angle, good momentum. Now let's see if I can get the top end up. Don't need to go to second here, it's a long turn. Into the jump. Catch that, hold that. Now up next comes a tricky bit. I can never quite remember this layout from here, so I'm not going to click it into fourth. Lots of rocks after the winter. brake, momentum, hold it, catch it, there you go. Good on the brakes, gotta go down second for this one. 6 seconds, lots of rocks. 0 trip. Definite second gear turn here. Don't go too wide. Never go too wide. That was a blunder. I don't like how many rocks there are after the wind on this thing. Definitely came in there a bit hot, but I managed to hold it. Getting slow here at this corner. Will throw me out. And this is easily the slowest corner on this layout. Left foot braking through here. Keep the front end in check. Get the transition. Hold the transition, take the front! Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Almost had that transition. Back down to second. That was a good initiation right there. Washed out a good ride. That was good nonetheless. Gosh, this is so much fun! Yes! I got a bit excited and forgot where my weight was when I pulled the handbrake. I did not want to rotate in that direction. Woo! Think I'm gonna do the low speed again. That's my favorite bit. And I am low on fuel after all. This time. Down second. That was wrong. Should have been on the brakes when I downshifted.